And welcome everyone to Blender Today Live number 60. We are live. It's 5 p.m. here in Central European Time, CET. Yes, and I'm here with a special guest, Sebastian. He's one of the developers that is working full-time now in Blender for already many months, since last year, right?
No. Or, well, yeah, since last year, technically, since Christmas. So
since Christmas. Yeah. Okay, that's last year.
Yeah.
So you are helping out with like the bug tracker, right? Like
mainly the bug tracker right now. So
yeah. So like basically all your messy files that need to be tested and checked and reports.
Yeah, the minimal 5 gigabyte file for reproduce. Yeah.
Wow. All right. So. Awesome! Thanks everyone for the thumbs up. It seems that the audio seems to be fine, the video is fine, and we are here in sync. So, what are you doing here in Amsterdam? Why do you live here? Where are you from? Like that kind of.
Okay, yeah, I'm from Sweden. I have been just here for a week now in Amsterdam. It's a bit, different than in Sweden, so it takes a bit time to get used to everything. Yeah. But right now I'm just doing the same thing as I did from at home in Sweden. Just triaging bugs. Perhaps if I had time, try to fix some small things. But yeah, most of my time right now goes out to just fixing bugs and like assigning them to the appropriate developer.
Nice. So, okay, that is a huge help. Because otherwise, yeah, like some bugs you have to try them. Sometimes they are not even bugs. Sometimes they are features.
Yeah, feature requests that you said that they should try to sneak into the bug tracker.
Yes, actually, here Sebastian is one of I was about to start. Is like, yeah, now you put the PlayStation one intro, and now you put the Zelda one, and yeah, so he actually watches Blender.Today. One of us. Awesome. So you're here visiting Amsterdam for a little bit, just to hang out now because we have an office. It's cool to be here. But would you like to consider one day moving in, doing stuff like?
Yeah, maybe. I'll see. But perhaps yes.
Awesome. Well, so you know how it goes. You know how Blender.Today goes. We spend the first half an hour ish just seeing what's new in Blender, and then we answer the questions from people here in the live stream. So if you haven't already, go ask your questions, especially if you are the development stuff. You can go to Blender.Today, which I happen to have
in the browser.
Here, in the browser. Yes, but I didn't have it shared. Like, no. Blender.Today must be the first one or one of the first ones here. Thank you, Momotron2000, for making the thread. There's already 21 questions, so go hurry up, and we're gonna see what's new in Blender this week. So do you like you're a developer, you know what's going on with Blender. Why do you watch this?
I mean, it's nice because I don't keep track of everything. So some of the features you say, oh, this made it in this week. I'm like, what? It did?
Yep.
So it's nice to keep track of those things that I miss.
All the new stuff. So I usually like to start with the interface changes because we know it's more like the superficial parts. So let's get to it. This is a nice one and small one. If you're actually working on your file for hours and hours, and then you will make a new file. There was actually a demo, a YouTube video by a girl that was doing 2D animation in other softwares and then wanted to try Blender for the first time. Oh
yeah, I saw that. That one.
So embarrassing that she lost her work because she wasn't really... Yeah, she made a new one and was expecting the message to tell you that you're going to lose your changes. So now there is a message that asks you, hey, there are changes in the current file. Continue. So... I think this is a good compromise. I don't know. I kind of like this message a lot more. It's like discard the changes or make a new file or something like that. So maybe it should be something a bit more complete. Like this one feels like I would, by mistake, I would like just
click it. Yeah.
Yeah. Just use
go away.
Go away. Yeah. At least if it goes away, then it's gone. But at least you're not gonna lose your changes if you're paying attention. So it's pretty nice. Then that was the small one. There's another big one regarding the UI that was just committed now. So if you download Blender from the build, but it's not going to be there yet, probably. If you compile it, then it is. It's the changes that I talked about last week regarding the top bar. So as you can
right.
see now, I just open Blender and there is no top bar. What happened? Did it get deleted? So select, no, it's not gone. It's only where you mainly need it. So it's in the, by default, it's gonna be shown in the workspaces where it's most needed. So if you're doing shading, you're not gonna see it. If you're doing animation, you're not gonna see it. But if you're doing sculpting, for example, it's here.
Right.
Then if you're doing texture painting, it's visible, this nice pink in your face. So it's there when you most need it. If you wanna show it, you can always just show it like in the past. You just right click and then show tool settings. Right click in the header and then show tool settings. If you hide it, then it disappears. That's pretty nice.
Yeah, the animators wanted it to have on a shortcut, but we'll see what it
to toggle.
can do.
Oh yeah, which shortcut would you like? Did they suggested anything?
No, I want to be able to assign it to a key, so they can just toggle it on and off without having to go up there, right click.
Yeah,
and yeah,
it's a good idea. Which the top portion of the video? Oh yeah, it's actually the top portion of my screen is off because I open it in full screen. And here, if I disable this full screen, then I have to make it like this big. There you go. Because now we lost the top bar, and when I set up this screen, I did it with the top bar in mind.
Oh, okay.
So thank you for the reminder. I'm gonna make it bigger just so people can
read. Yeah.
People/me can see it instead of squinting. Then I see myself doing the squinting on the videos. It's embarrassing. Ctrl+T. That's too many keys, but. Maybe something with T for toolbar like Shift T or
Alt F4. No.
Alt F4, Control Delete. So that was one of the changes of the top bar, that it's now only visible when you need it. However, for some tools, even when you're modeling, for example, for some of the options that appeared up here, now they're also available on the top bar. You can enable it, or you can also find them in the new categories in the sidebar. There is now 3 default categories / tabs in the sidebar, which before they were none of them were. There was only everything in one, which was a bit confusing because the transform panel was only related to the active object. Then there was together with the view, for example, for view stuff, like the 3D cursor was there, even expanded by default, like come on, I'm here, I'm in your face.
Scroll up
so you had to scroll a lot, and annotations, and then collections visibility. So maybe collection, if it gets too big, it could have its own tab, but I've seen a lot of people using like dozens of add-ons and they will run out of space in here. So
they'll just scroll on the side instead.
Yeah, and that needs some fixing too. I think I've seen some screenshots with where you can't even read the name.
Oh, the shrink.
Yeah, but like to one letter. So maybe it should be like this one. You know, it's smart enough to like scroll.
Yeah, that's what I thought was going to happen. But
yeah, it's not yet. So maybe that will happen. And there is a new one that shows the active tool settings. So you can still access them
without having the top bar.
Without having the top bar. You can also access them from the tool settings here. So you can, if you don't want to have it all the time on, you can always, you can, for example, have the modifiers here and have access, and then the T panel here. So it's an extra place where you can find them. And I think the add-on creators also gonna make it, gonna find it nice that they can fit more information about their active tool. When they make one, you can also just fit in all the stuff.
And add a tutorial in here.
Add a whole tutorial in it, add a picture, add the last episode of Game of Thrones there playing while you're, all the spoilers and stuff while you're working. So yeah, you can show anything. And what else? I think that's about it for the top bar. Yes. What else? Last little UI thingy that you're not gonna notice because it's actually a fix-ish. Some menus, I can't show the how it worked before, but sometimes the menus will have like 2 separators, one after the other, from like leftovers, or some settings are only shown if you're like in whatever mode.
Yeah.
So sometimes they will be like two separated and look weird. Now they don't look weird anymore, thanks to Howard. That he pays so much attention to all the little
small details.
It's so nice, like 1 pixel differences or color differences. Howard, you're awesome. Thank you very much. And since we're in the viewport, one more thing in the viewport. Let's see. How does it feel so far? Is it okay? I feel like I'm going too fast sometimes.
No, I feel it's a nice pace.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Next one then. Last week, actually, I mentioned that in edit mode, you could find it was being worked on the overlay for the mesh analysis. That it's very handy when you want to show like the thickness of your mesh, if it's enough for like 3D printing maybe, or if there are parts of your mesh that are overhanged, and now you can actually see them.
Oh, there was a bug report about that.
Oh, okay,
so,
maybe it's broken.
Yeah, that's the thing that it didn't visualize.
It didn't visualize.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very nice, very handy for the live stream. But here I'm ready. This week I am ready with a picture.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it should be working.
Is it merged or?
It should be merged actually.
If you scroll up, it should say.
It should say.
Closed. Yeah.
Yeah, it's closed.
It should be.
Oh, maybe I didn't compile fast. Oh wow, and maybe I'm behind. But it's done, guys. Just.
It's working somewhere on some repository.
It's somewhere. There is a screenshot. It's done. So whenever you compile tonight, it must be not compiled, or when you download it from the Buildbot, which is basically a computer that compiles Blender every night here at the studio, and it puts it up online around 2-3 a.m. Central Europe time. I think it's the time.
Yeah, and sometimes it crashes, so we have to kick it.
Sometimes you need some poking, but it's around that time. You're doing it during the evening sometimes. So I think that was it.
For the viewport, you mean?
For the viewport, I think. Do you remember any other one? I think the viewport I already mentioned. There is some performance improvements that we can actually maybe mention before moving to the other big one in the outliner that I mentioned last week. But this one is awesome. It's so awesome that I even opened Blender 2.7 and I did a demo file of it. This is the one I came prepared. And okay, then the developers burst my bubble with the updates. But basically, look at this, guys. This is Blender 2.79 in its glory, with how many? 4,000 bones, 4,080 bones. I'm in edit mode and I'm gonna play back the animation, and it's going around 40, 50 FPS.
52. It was slower before.
It used to be slower before.
Yeah.
It's around 40-50 FPS. But I'm not gonna. Should I try and?
Yeah, you can try it. Because it was lower before.
It was 30 FPS, and I think I had something running in the background. But basically, the speed of the drawing of bones has been sped up enormously, so much that it's now actually faster to draw the bones in edit mode for 2.8 than it was in 2.7. Yeah. So the improvement actually it says something about going from like 30 in a test file around 37 FPS to like 47, so it's like 10 FPS more. So it's like 20 something percent. But in 2.7 was like 24 FPS. So this one, I think I'm asking it too much to 2.7. It's even crashing with 8,000. Like, let's see if it's crashing. Yes, it's crashing.
Okay.
So this is Blender 2.7 for you guys. It's kind of lame that you have to kill it that way. But here comes our boy, 2.8. So this is 2.8 with 4,000 bones here. Let's see if I can. Yes, let's see. I'm not 4,000 bones, and it goes at 60 frames per second. Then I'm going to do the same that I did before. So now I duplicate it. So now I have 8,000. I select both of them, enter edit mode, and I have 8,000 bones. playing at 60 frames per second. What about 16,000 bones? Do you guys see the number? Yes. Is it readable? I'm gonna just to flex a little bit.
To emphasize.
To emphasize here. 16,000 bones. 60 frames per second. But wait, there is more. You can actually go to Eevee or like the look dev mode, and then you can have bunch of objects with like reflections. And I already did it. I don't have to show it, but with all the pretty much all the fanciness that you want during like sensible amount. But then basically it can keeps playing. You just keep working, and it's way faster than it was in 2.7.
Yeah.
Why is this? Because it's finally being
worked on. All
the promises of optimizations, and it's gonna work better. It's gonna get better because of a new OpenGL or a new depth graph or new everything. It's paying off, and this is just the beginning. Actually, there's so much more work that needs to be done. Also, this is mainly for static, so if it's animating, it's gonna be a different performance. But if you're like, consider how fast this is if you're like doing rigging, for example, or like just not
But also, as one said in the chat, it's the bones aren't moving. Yes, so expect less performance if they are animated.
Yeah, if
this
you
is
have
just for static drawing. So
if you have 16,000 bones and they're moving and they have drivers in Python, yeah, of course it's gonna go slower.
Yeah.
It's not. But just try it. I'm comparing with 2.7. Just to
to see where we were and where we are now.
And where we are now. That is 2.7 is actually.
Now it doesn't crash, so.
No, it doesn't. Yes, that's true.
It
yes.
doesn't crash.
So performance, and actually this week it's all about improving also regarding the viewport, and the workbench engine is all about fixing the regressions and just speed ups. For example, I have so here's my little list of things that I like to go on, and I have a few other fixes. I leave it up for people pressing pause and saying, "Oh, what's next thing?" But the drawing of the bones with multiple custom shapes is also improved.
Oh yeah, that was a bug also, that it didn't work.
It was a bug that now it's fixed, and now the drawing is now faster than of custom bone shapes. It's also faster than in 2.7. So things are looking good. Not only the viewport regarding like Eevee or the workbench, but also Grease Pencil has been getting some updates. The Grease Pencil team, especially Antonio Vasquez, worked on an improvement on the fill tool, the one that you fill the colors of your.
Yeah, you fill the shapes.
Yeah,
of
the shapes.
Pencil,
yeah. It also got an update. There was like not a bug, but a feature that it was making it slow, especially on big scenes. And the more you like, it was exponentially slower. Like the more objects you had, it was really slower. So now a file that took 7 seconds to fill in a color, now it's like 1 second or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's
so
really
it's
nice.
much faster for Grease Pencil. So yeah, I think that's it with the viewport stuff. So performance. If Blender wasn't working very fast for you until now, try it tomorrow with the build from tonight, and it's gonna should get a bit better.
Maybe.
Hope. Maybe.
Yeah.
And especially if you have a newer graphics card, it's gonna be better. 2.8 is gonna make better use than
of the old. Yeah. Exactly.
Yes. Oof. All right, outliner. I'm tempted. There are some improvements in the Google Summer of Code that about the selection of the outliner, and the developer that wants to work on it, actually the student, it already posted a bunch of updates on the Blender chat that are like GIFs showing that it's actually working already, and Summer of Code hasn't even started yet.
He's coming well prepared.
Yes, well prepared.
Finished work.
Yes. Of course, that code has to be reviewed, has to be on par with the rest of Blender, but that shows a lot of enthusiasm by the developer, so that's pretty nice. The outliner itself got an update from last week. I already mentioned this last week, but it's good to see it in action. The parenting and the parenting, how do you call it? The relationship between
relationships,
is now shown in the outliner. So for example, if I'm parenting this cube to the camera shaped lamp, and then I connect it, you'll see that
so it works like in 2.7 now.
It works like in 2.7, but better.
Yeah,
because it's 2.8. No, because it actually, when you are but because you can actually see the parent, the relationship. And for example, I'm making this bigger because I want to show some very neat effects, that the cube shows up just like it would. The issue why this wasn't implemented before is that if one of the objects was in a separate collection, then how do you show it? Like how would you?
Yeah, exactly. How would you visualize that thing?
Exactly. And the solution is dashed lines. So you show it, and for example here, the cube is parented to the camera. The camera is in the collection, this collection.
Yeah.
The cube, however, I moved it to the collection number 2. So this will be gone in the way how it used to work. But now it's shown with a
dashed line.
Dash line. I don't know if you get to see it, but it's dashed.
Yeah. Like there's small lines on the screen here.
There are small lines on the screen. The resolution of YouTube is probably playing with us.
Yeah, but now it's consistent with how it is in the viewport because there's a dashed line between the objects that's parented.
Yes, so there it even makes sense. And the other way around also works. For example, if you make a third collection where the camera is gonna be in the collection number 3, for example, but then collection number 3, the cube is in collection number 2. But if I move this to another collection, then you'll see that it still shows up here. The collection still shows up here, and it all works one way or the other. It's just
yeah, because before I think you could see this relationship stuff in not
in view layer, but in the scenes.
Yes,
you will see
exactly.
Yeah, and then you could see it. This hasn't changed. This is the same old.
Yeah, there was lots of requests for this.
Yeah, it's so handy to see it. And also when you select the cube, for example, it's gonna highlight all three versions of it, or like all 3 instances of it. There was a proposal in right-click select about having the same like instances with like maybe italic or drawn in a different way.
Oh, okay, so you can just at a glance kind of see.
Just at a glance see that this cube is actually only once in the scene. It's in 3 collections, but it's only once. So that kind of, yeah. That's it with it. It just works, just like how you expect it, or like 2.7. That is it. A small update on the industry standard keymap. What is that? What is the industry standard keymap? Do you know?
It's if you come from another 3D software like Maya or another Autodesk product, they usually have this standard set of keys, so you can quickly jump between programs and not have to relearn the keymap. So now we have something that tries to mimic that in some way, so it's easier for people to just jump into Blender and use it.
Yes. So the way this was worked out, I already mentioned a few times, but there's like a chart. It's like, okay, rotation in the viewport, how does the standard, the big boys do it, and the one that wins, like okay, everybody's using alt middle mouse button, okay, that would be the industry compatible keymap. And you can enable from the splash screen if you just start Blender, or you can change it from the keymap section and then choose it from the drop down here. Industry compatible, it would basically mean that you cannot follow any other tutorial in Blender, but you can basically use the same shortcuts that you would use in this. I don't know how to move.
I don't know either. I haven't actually used another
left click mouse button. Yeah, so it's not the most, I mean, if you use other softwares, then it's good in a way. But if you're gonna use Blender most of the time and you wanna follow tutorials and documentation, then just
stick to the default one at the beginning at least.
Yeah, just power through. Come on, we all did it once.
We all did it once. You have to do 2. You have to suffer like we did.
Yes.
Like all the other
Earn
people.
it.
Yeah, earn it.
However, it's still good to use it. For example, you have the transform tool. You can still like do a box selection while you have the transform tool, so it feels very natural. And overall, it is a very natural way of working. You have spacebar for play. I think you have tab for search, tab for searching,
oh, yeah.
and a bunch of other ways of, yeah. It feels so alien work. Like Blender already looks different, and now with this,
yeah, it just feels wrong. It's like,
yeah, it's wrong. But no, it's really good for people that use other software.
that are used the other ones, so they can easily just jump in and get
we can get them. We can lure them into the Blender thinking.
Slowly deprecate the keymap, so they have to learn the
and then they switch to the default.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, F4. Now I don't know how to go to the user preference. Okay.
Oh yeah, control. What?
Control comma.
Okay.
All right. If the industry says it,
so that's the key, then it's the key.
Yep. I'm gonna go back to Blender or 2.7 even. Save forever.
Or you can even delete the keymap.
Delete? Yeah, and I wouldn't. You can delete the keymap?
Yeah, you can. It's a bug. You can delete the default keymap.
Okay, do not try that at home, guys, please.
I've tried to work some with, but I mean, it's kind of low priority because why would you delete the default keymap?
Exactly. So, awesome. I want to see loop select. I think it's double click for loop selection. But you should look it up. It's here in the user in the keymap. It's really not that big, the industry compatible keymap, so you can just basically read it.
Yeah.
You see, this one has like 4 settings, and this one a few more, but you can search by name. So for example, loop, and they can see, yeah, it's double left mouse or shift. DBL is double. Yes, or control double left mouse. But so you can search. Click. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
If you don't know what a key does, then you can switch the search from name to key binding, and then search for like shift, and then all the shift stuff, or arrow and all the arrow stuff, or go back to safe land. All right, can you redefine some keymaps? Yeah, you can do as many as you want. Refine pretty much everything in Blender.
Yeah, if you don't like a default setting, you can just change it. You
can. Something that changed recently in the video editing. I like those segues, you know, like you say a word and I connect it.
Video
editing. Sequencer.
Yeah.
In the sequencer, when you add a new strip, this is a small one, but basically when you add a new strip in the sequencer forever, it was in the blend mode type cross, which is near to useless because if you add an image, for example, with alpha with transparency, you wouldn't see what is below. So now that by default, every new strip has an alpha over blending mode, which is gonna save some
hassle and confusion
and hours of our life. So use those new minutes in your life wisely. Another thing that it was improved this week is the cache. Well, actually this week, this patch is coming from months ago, but the cache finally is smarter in Blender 2.8 in the sequencer. Have you read something about it?
I've triaged bugs and assigned it to the developer.
So either receive it, try it, yeah, it's a bug.
Yeah,
okay.
And then just here you go.
Well, okay, there's people can actually go and read the actual patch, like the documentation, how it was done. It's from March, but actually the development of this was
It was just merged, right? It's just that they posted the fix in March.
Yes, actually, it was recently, like today, or even it was committed. But the big thing basically is that now the cache is smarter, and it actually works. And what kind of cache is it? It's a cache of when you're, for example, when you're doing playback, you can Blender is gonna cache multiple levels of your
video.
of your video, of your sequence, whatever you have, and you can see what is cached at what point, which is also very important. For example, I have here I have a orange line down here, which is basically the cache for the final frame. So everything that is here. So for example, I have this frame, you click on it, and then I have a little orange thingy down there, which is, it meant that it cached that one frame completely. Then you will also find some nice, it's not very colorful, so now you'll find another color there that will tell you, hey, I've cached this strip. So not only the frame itself, but also each strip has its own little cache.
Yeah, local cache.
Local cache for each strip, and also caches the raw image or the one with the transform. So if you like applied some scaling, some kind of transformation to your strip, is gonna be cached as well. So you can see a bunch of colors now here, but if you're not a big fan of those, you can always go to View, Cache, and disable whatever you wanna see, or the whole thing, the whole cache together. So exciting. You can read more about it in the not here, but in this guy.
That one, yeah.
Very easy to remember. D444. Developer.Blender/D443. But people know about this kind of stuff. When in developer.blender.org, when an address starts with D, it means that it's a diff or a patch.
Yeah.
Right? It's it's part of the code that was changed, and you get the difference between the original Blender and the change. Yeah. That way the code review can happen, right? You can go to the code and you can actually see which parts of the code change for what.
Yeah, what is deleted, what is added. And then the developers, as you said, can go in and say, oh, okay, this is what you changed. I don't like this part. Could you change this stuff?
Yes.
And then, it's a big back and forth between it.
And it's like you can go here and then you can add a comment, and it's pretty, that's how the code review happens.
Yeah.
When the address starts with a T, it's a task.
Yeah, so someone reported a bug.
That's a task. Or a design, for example, like a proposal for a change from the UI team, for example. They make a little task or a to-do list, something that, hey, we're gonna fix the left-click keymap, for example, and that's a task. Then it gets assigned to people, and people can subscribe. Here you can subscribe, for example. Here Luciano's gonna get an update, an email for a change in the sequencer. How much devotion is to follow the development of Blender.
You can also give tokens, so there's a
you can
give like emoji.
Yes,
stuff.
Exactly. Look at this Pablo Vasquez giving a heart. You can give it like emojis, and you can, that will. Do you people get happy from them?
Well, yeah, I mean, if you put a lot of time in a patch and then you get some attention that people like the patch and want it merged, and you get a little bit of happy feelings inside.
That's nice.
So yeah, it's kind of good because most people, I will admit, for most people this is kind of boring, just looking at the different changes and a bit of developer discussion. So it's nice when people sit down and look at the patches and say that they like them or not.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. Oh, here, by the way, you can read more about the different cache stages that I was mentioning before. And you can not only, since we are talking about the developer.blender.org, not only you can give tokens, but when there is a patch like this, you can usually use a tool called Arcanist. And just Google Arcanist Fabricator, and then you will see how to use it. That basically allows you, if you compile Blender, allows you to apply this patch very easily locally, and then you can compile it and then try out this stuff. Or make a build and put it in graphical.org. Just a little plug to the sister website.
Okay. Yeah, if you don't want to use Arcanist or graphical.org, you can download the raw patch file and apply it to the source.
Oh yeah, that you can do too. You can just basically download the raw diff.
Raw diff.
And then you do git diff. Go to git apply in this guy.
Yeah, git apply. Or use the patch command if you're on Linux or whatever.
so much information you're getting today. It's like a tutorial on how to Blender,
develop,
how to or just be curious about code.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's how it started for me. I just took some patches, compiled my own code, and then later on I wanted to change some stuff, and then I became a developer.
And here you are.
Yeah.
Do you regret? Not regret.
Some days maybe, but yeah.
Not most of it. Huh?
No.
Awesome, that's great to hear. So yeah, you don't actually need to know any coding for you applying patches. You don't have to learn how to code. Just applying patches is very simple. You just look at the tutorial on how to apply a Git patch. You don't need to know any programming.
You just need to know the tools.
The tools.
Get familiar with the tools.
Even like if you're on Linux, then maybe you have more of like you have to go to the terminal, but you're probably used to it because you're crazy by using Linux. But if you're using Mac or Windows, there are tools that you just like drag and drop or apply patch, and you press buttons that look pretty and stuff.
Exactly. And we also have on the wiki or the documentation pages, we have guides how to build Blender. So how to get the source code, how to get it compiling on Windows, Mac, and Linux. And
exactly. Big wiki.blender.org, and then building Blender.
Yeah. And
just choose your destiny here. Awesome.
The 3 different endings with different colors.
Exactly. Linux is first. That's nice.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
But I think it's easier to get started on Linux. To just compile stuff. It's a bit more complicated on Windows.
Yeah, actually, the compiling part is much simpler on Linux. For sharing, it takes a bit more time. So that's why in Graphical we added this link to build with statically linked libraries, which basically goes to the wiki.
Yeah.
But yeah. So a few more updates and then we move on because it's almost
exactly.
Yes. The well, this is an improvement actually on the if you have a file with a bunch of node groups inside and like groups and groups and groups and just crazy.
Yeah, crazy node trees.
Crazy node trees that if it was taking long when you open the file, that was because Blender in 2.66, like
that's long ago.
Very long ago. Blender introduced a way to have custom inputs and outputs on your nodes, and since then Blender was doing a check for if those inputs were available or not, and just making them a bunch of checks on all over the code, which is now gone because it's been a while and we have to look forward. So those checks are not even needed anymore. So now it's gonna load faster. Another thing that will make things faster now is that cycles remove hair for minimum width support. This wasn't never really working that well, apparently from what Brecht says here. But what I'm more excited about is that if it wasn't really working that well and it was removed, there must be some benefit, and there are. I'm pretty happy because Kodo is the one that actually got most benefits. It's a speed up in render time because Kodo is a llama from Caminandes that it's full of hair.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of little hairs, and since now apparently Cycles doesn't have to think about the sizes of those and what to do with those hairs, it's actually slightly faster. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
So yeah, the Fishy Cat also got an improvement, and of course the BMW is lacking some hair, so it's not gonna. It's actually slower.
Yeah, it's actually slower. It's interesting why that is, but yeah, it's just 0 point something.
Zero nothing. So, yeah. So if you add some grass, it's gonna be faster.
Yeah.
Or add some hair, or some hair. You know, fluffy seats.
Fluffy car.
Fluffy car. Yes.
That's the one in Dumber and Dumber.
Oh yeah, like the truck with the tongue out of the guys. Yes. And last but not least, in the script, in the
scripting editor.
Yes, text editor now, when you select something and then when you paste it, you can actually when you have the option to in the sidebar to convert tabs as spaces, now it's gonna respect it, and it's gonna actually, if you have tabs as spaces, it's gonna paste with the right.
Yeah, it will convert it on the fly when you paste it.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's smart. AI paste. No, okay. All right, done. Let's get to the questions because I only have 15 minutes.
Oh.
We've been talking for so long.
Yeah, we've been talking too much.
Yes, sorry, but it feels really fast. Actually.
Yeah, it felt like.
Do you have plans after, or we can just keep going?
Yeah, we can keep going. Just keep going.
Just keep an eye on the questions too, so we can also make it interactive both ways.
Okay.
I read here and we read here. So
an answer at the same time.
At the same time, on the same microphone. Very useful. So the first question, and here it was posted by Sino, is one request for request. It's not a question, it is for a request. It's a question time, but let's read it anyway. For the X-ray occlude mesh, really not a fan how they work in 2.8. Can we have the X-ray occlude set to 1 whenever we enter edit mode? That is a setting that we've discussed a few times already. So I think it's gonna be tackled, but just changing that value is not too much. But yeah, X-ray basically to 1 to work having this too.
And then here we have, does the hair transparency related improvements mean that we will have less of those black areas between the grass without turning up transparent light paths? No.
No?
No, because the black areas usually means that you have a transparent plane, and then the
ray.
The ray, yeah, you have to increase the amount of transparent objects it can go through before it vanishes.
The bounces.
Yeah, the
more
bounces.
Yeah. So that way, the more it goes.
Yeah. So, yeah, it will not be solved. You still have to increase the amount of.
Yeah, actually, that's a way to optimize. If you would always render everything, every transparent thing until the end, then it's not very optimized.
No.
That way, because if you don't care about what happens after a certain number, that's basic ray tracing 101.
Yeah, because in most cases you usually have a lot of layered stuff. So in the end, the plane at the back won't be visible either way. So you won't notice. So
you won't render, and it's faster actually. So it's good to have that black thing. You know where is your limit. Lapisi asks 2 questions. It is cheating. Smiley. I was wondering what's the reason for the armature layers are still keeping the 2.7 style dots. Seems like a missed opportunity to have outlier the feature of nesting and naming layers, and it's gonna be tackled eventually. It's just that it was kind of a big brush. Like already having collections was kind of big, so armatures are gonna have to wait until another pass. Like for 2.8, it was too much big of a project.
Yeah, we have too much to fix right now, so we can't add more features because then we will have to fix the bugs. That's
so that will have to wait. But yeah, it is planned eventually. We see the benefits, of course, but it's also good actually in a way that we polish the way collections work for objects first.
Yes,
we get that right, and then imagine if the
just the initial take of collections, and then we implement all that stuff. Oh no, this implementation wasn't good.
No, and then we have
to redo everything. Yeah.
So it's good actually that it's we're taking our time to polish the way it works for objects first. Second question: would it be possible to have material normal mapping or matcap mode in Eevee or Workbench?
Okay, so it uses the normal maps.
For what?
For
matcaps.
Yeah. So it combines the normal map with the map cap too.
That's interesting. Yeah, that sounds absolutely.
It should be doable, but I'm not sure because I think the idea for map caps right now is that you can just take it on any object.
And it overrides everything.
Yeah, and you don't have to have UV maps or whatever. It's just you can just plonk it on there and
it just uses So
yeah, but I mean it could be a special setting or something.
Yeah, no, but it sounds like it would fit with the design. So if any developer looking into interested in looking into it, it's super nice. Another question, Facu de la Rosa. In Blender.Today, you can make displacement map from multi-rise, but you cannot from selected to active. That was a feature of Blender internal. Will this option be added to cycles? It should be added to cycles because it's super handy, the baking from selected to active. I'm not aware of the plans for that right now at the moment though.
Yeah, I think there's some bug reports about this already because it doesn't work.
So developers are aware of it.
Yeah. Let's see if we have one from the chat. No.
In the meantime, Xenomax asks, I want to talk about the transform gizmo. Since now we have lock axis with the square, so no more need for holding shift to lock along an axis. Can we get extrude along axis when holding shift and dragging the manipulator axis? Also, this will lead to us having this type of extrusions in Blender doesn't have it natively. Thanks. Link. Clicking a link online.
Always risky.
Yeah, always risky. Live stream. But what is that? It's like extruding.
It's like inset.
Like inset, yeah, like extruding inset. Right? But it says it's not possible with Blender. Like
You have to have a face. That was without the face.
yeah, exactly, because he didn't have the face.
Oh.
Only faces. No, and if you have here, you can actually do it. Yeah. No, with the eye, yeah, it's for inset. Yeah. But yeah, so you can extrude. How's it know though?
Do you mean which direction?
No, I think it should be possible.
Yeah.
And yeah, it should be like an option for these maybe.
And now you have a bit of a non-manifold mesh. So.
Yeah, never a good example. But yeah, it sounds like it should be. Put it on right-click select, please. So it gets developed by the community. It gets like more traction. And John asks, out of curiosity, what percentage of the Blender code is contributed by the outside community, and what percentage is written in-house?
It's a hard question to answer, but I think that it's a lot of code is from the developers that they are in-house or at least employed by Blender, because they work mostly every day on bug fixes.
I know, and it's hard to measure, right? Because like you could argue that even though Ton is not writing any code anymore, big chunk of Blender is part of his code.
Yeah.
Then there are libraries that are other people's code that are Blender uses it, like I don't know, FFmpeg or like Ceres or.
And also the different code changes. Now we did some style changes in the code that Campbell committed. So he like touched every.
So Campbell is like the owner of everything. Yeah, basically now.
So it's hard to keep track of that. But my gut feeling is that it's mostly in-house. But there's some like people, that are really passionate about some feature that writes complicated code and good code and gets upset.
Yeah. The thing is that it is mainly written in-house, you could say. It's not really in-house because Campbell is in Australia and we are in Amsterdam.
It's out-house.
It's house-ish, Blender house. But the thing is that they've been working for Blender for so many years, decades. They know the insides part of the code. So the community is contributing big chunk. Like look at the not this one, but like now Clement did Eevee, so that's like a huge thing that he made it before he was working for Blender, and now he's working for Blender, so that is one big chunk. But the sequencer, for example, is a new developer that it's around since more recently. So yeah, it's a trade-off. Damian asks, hi Pablo, is high five from St. Petersburg. Awesome. Where in Sweden are you from, by the way?
Oh, I'm from Linköping.
Linköping.
Yeah. So
I have no idea where that is.
It's kind of not really, but between Stockholm and Malmö, perhaps a bit more close to Stockholm.
Nice. First question: hook vertices to selected objects work weirdly. There is no vertex to create it. Sounds like a bug. Please, will it be fixed somehow? Will it be? No, it can be reported.
Yeah.
Please. Yeah. What?
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe. That's one of the other problems we have right now. There's so many bugs, so for us developers, it's hard to see if it's a duplicate bug or not. We cannot effectively look up
if it has been reported or
before.
Not. So please report it regardless. I think that the best. Sorry for giving you more work, but I think if
Yeah, well, when we get around to it, we can just at least then say that okay, this is a duplicate, but. Before you report something, at least try to see if it's something similar already has been reported. Because if you can find it, then you don't have to create duplicate work and can just subscribe for that ticket.
Yeah, so you can search for like hooks, not this guy, but just...
No, you go to, I think, if you go to developer, just click there and then browse bugs. And then you can do edit. Okay.
Oh yeah, and I'm looking for pillar because I do the web.
In the query, just
I
search
can choose like hooks and then
just search. I guess.
Just search, I guess. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. And
then... wait, one more thing. Just scroll up, and then you should of course
have
bug, and then
Blender,
status open.
Open. It's very simple, as you can
it's
see.
It's very simple, this thing.
But you will save time.
Yeah, so here you have
there you go.
with keywords, so something with hook in them.
Okay, adding a new hook while in edit mode breaks when trying to undo. From 2017. Okay, maybe not that one.
So there's a lot of bugs.
From all times.
Yeah, from all times too.
Second, 3D cursor have orientation for some time, but now how can I take advantage of it? It's not implemented yet, but it's actually...
Yeah, it's a bug report.
It's a bug report.
That's assigned to me. It's that you want to have snap to 3D cursor, and then the object that you snap will use the rotation.
Yes. Next. Yes. May I visit you guys in Amsterdam? Yes, we are. You have to mail Ton at Blender.org. He organizes the visits. Maybe if he can couple it with other people, then he can get a studio tour, and that way we can all hang out more. We have a door opens day. Yeah, usually it's Friday at 6 p.m.
Oh, okay.
Ponomarov. Hi, Pablo. Hi, Sebastian. Greeting from Ukraine. What can you say about OpenCL versus CUDA?
Well, I mean, currently the impression I get is that CUDA is more easier to use. You just buy an NVIDIA graphics card that supports CUDA, of course, the newer versions, and you're good to go. With OpenCL and AMD, it's a bit more finicky.
But now, thanks to Jeroen and AMD, you can get him on board for answering these kind of questions.
Yeah, he's working really hard to improve the OpenCL bits, and he's also improved them quite a bit. So he told me a few days ago that he had a very advanced file that was now faster in OpenCL than in CUDA. But I mean, it's just one test case, so it might not, apply evenly, but yeah, at least it's not that OpenCL is shit in everything. Some cases it's good, some cases it's bad.
Awesome. The next question is do you know that mesh analysis only works with models that don't have any modifiers applied? Okay, maybe that's what I was doing wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Next, Jack asks, are there any plans to improve measurement system in Blender? Right now there's only a value in the middle of a line that shows distance length. I think every tool is gonna get a whole bunch of updates in the future. The basic now is brought from 2.7, but there will be improvements, and the measure it add-on actually was being worked on already. I think measure it add-on.
Yeah,
it was ported to 2.9.
Yeah, there's a lot of work going on in the measure system because there's a lot of people coming from CAD programs that wants to have specific measure features are not in Blender. So we'll see. As this is mostly a feature request, I've told them to go to right-click, select and have a nice proposal there. Which
is here on the sidebar, by the way. We sorted them out, and there is 2 new communities. Just as a small side announcement, there is a community for jobs. If you have a job like the one in Blender Network, we're actually moving it to Blender community, and the same for events. Here, this little guy over here is for actually I can just show it Blender. In the meantime, it's the there are a few events already. There is the London Blender Day, and there's a Blender conference which has been announced, and the jobs, still no jobs here posted yet, but it's the same as the Blender Network. We're gonna move those here, the new ones, of course. Okay. Next question, Setcorp. The knife tool doesn't work in multi-edit mode. Yes, it's a limitation of the design of active tools with multi-objects, but it's planned to eventually be worked on. The thing is that it's just too many. It was too much work to make it work with 2.8 with all the other leftover things to work on. Maybe if there is time, maybe it gets tackled before 280, otherwise 281 or future. David asks, love Eevee, actually working on real-time VJ video mapping project. Awesome. With what? With animation nodes? Is it possible in Eevee to turn off downsampling to one sample when playing back animation? Not that I know. Can you turn off downsampling on Eevee while playing back? I don't think there is a setting for that, but if people are... Maybe we can ask Clément if it's possible. Next question. Oh, you're looking for the question?
Yeah, is there any new shortcuts to learn in 2.8? No, it's mostly that we removed shortcuts.
Which one? Is there any new shortcuts to learn? Actually, well, a few. F6 move to F9. Well, yeah, all the shortcuts in Blender 2.7. F1 is for opening a file. In 2.8 is for help. F2 is for saving a file in 2.7.
Yeah.
And in 2.8 is for renaming an object. So there is a bunch of changes, especially in the F keys up there, but mainly the rest of Blender should stay the same, except now by default is left click select. And another question, how do Blender treat blend files that made in an earlier release? For example, a principal BSDF node with random walk shader made in Blender daily build from July. Oh gee, that's very specific. Made from July, opening a daily build from now. If the code have changed, so much. It will usually work.
Yeah, it will usually work.
Or it will fall back to the default if it doesn't exist. But it usually would work. But this is very specific, like from July until like April. It's very likely that it will work. I've been opening files from 2004 in 2.8 and they work. So
yeah, if it's a feature that made it into Blender, then you usually should be able to just open the old file.
When it makes sense. Of course, if you're using Blender internal and you open it in 2.8, it's not going to show the node system or like it's not going to work. Praise and Jan. Oh, we reached the time. Okay, let's do the 5 more questions and then we get to it. Anything that you see here that you want to...
Isn't there a kind of fan page for developers?
Fan page for developers. Yes, it's called fan.blender.org.
Yeah, nice.
This is nice. How you can become a fan. So this is Sebastian, this is Brecht, this is...
yeah, but seriously, this fund is what allowed me to work on Blender here in Amsterdam.
Actually, yes. Actually, he is here because of the Blender Development Fund.
Yes. So if you don't like me, you can stop supporting.
Please don't.
No, then just figure out some way to get me fired and have the money go to someone else.
But yes, exactly. So here you can see under grants, you can see that the part-time grants go for Sebastian, but actually you're full-time now.
Yeah,
this
full-time
page
now, yeah.
It's outdated, but it's full-time working, fixing Blender, improvement and everything, thanks to the Blender Development Fund. That wasn't possible before, and it is now. So thank you everyone that has joined here, and whoever is coming back, look at this, join these happy people.
And just another quick one, when Cryptomat is going to be implemented in Eevee, there's have been a request for this, but I think it's something that might be implemented in the future. Yeah. It's not planned for 2.8, I think. So.
80 now, like no. The 2.80, even though Eevee seems like, yeah, Eevee, why is it doesn't getting this feature? It's like, it hasn't even been released once yet.
Exactly.
It's like, it can already do a bunch of stuff for what it is now. So many features, just give it a bit of time. The focus is to make it stable, to make it compatible with as many graphics cards as possible, and just make it work. Okay, we said 5 more questions.
Yep.
Number 5. Hi, where is this placement map in 2.8? Displacement map. Oh, yeah, that is the baking of displacement map, I think.
Okay, yeah, because the displacement map is just
not implemented yet. Yeah. Yes, I think that's what you mean, actually. Mamotron asks, I like the sequencer so far, but there are some things that are a bit difficult. I mean, a toolbox with tools like Cutter. Yes, the tool system for the sequencer is planned, but for
later, yeah.
For later, yeah.
Right now, those are all shortcuts.
Yes, the sequencer actually is getting a bunch of love, so it's even getting a developer as a module owner. If you don't know what it is, in the code.blender.org thread here, module teams, you can see the module owners on the wiki, and you will find that the sequencer is not left alone. Richard is taking care of it.
Yeah.
And as you can see with the new improvements. So does it count like an all-in-one question? Okay. I couldn't find an easy way to create a mask in the sequencer. And if I cut a clip after using the transform effect, it's not too hard. You should need to use the image editor for masks.
Yeah, just watch a tutorial for that. I think there should be some on YouTube.
Go to the image editor. There is a mask mode. You create it there, and then it's not super intuitive, but it's
you just create the mask. It's that simple.
Yes. No, I mean, yes, maybe not to explain at this late time of the day, but yes. And if I cut a clip using the transform effects, I had to copy paste the effect because there are no two separate clips after cutting. Yes, usability. That's not a question, hey? But it's gonna count as one because we're getting late. So number 4.
Should you then take one?
Yes, yeah. If you see something that you can tackle easily.
Yeah, I mean it's a
question. What is the shortcut for walk navigation? Shift tilde. Like if you have a plane like this, shift and then shift tilde or control. Wait. Oh my.
Well, you can search in the
yeah.
Also. FPS navigation, I think.
Yeah, shift. Because I have it in español. Español. Yo parlo españolo. What I'm talking Italian, saying that I speak in Spanish. Basically is shift. You can actually search for it. It's navigation.
Yeah, and then you see the
shortcut up there.
Yeah.
Walk and fly. View, walk and fly. We only need.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's what. There's no shortcut for the walk.
The walking, which is like the same, right?
Yeah, I think it's just.
It's different. Just you just switch. You only need to read the little Bible that appears down here on the bottom.
Yeah.
And it has all the instructions down here in the status bar. Not judging, but you guys always read the questions that were posted last and never get to the first one. Okay. We hear you, and scrolling down at the bottom, 1 hour ago was posted by Michael. Quick challenge. Select revert. It's not it's a question time. Select three vertices individually. Press Alt M for merge, and then repeat. But use the box circle select.
I think this will take too long first.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. But thank you for look at. I mean, we should answer. It's a Goal Development Fund.
Oh yeah.
Code Quest, Blender Cloud, and
Michael,
all of them. Yeah, sorry, it's a bit late. We shouldn't come to this before.
Yeah.
Hey, I found the deletion method really overcomplicated. It's more obvious to delete elements that are chosen now. Instead of choosing every single item. What? I have hard time understanding.
Yeah.
Make the X key deletion selection sensitive without confirmation prompt. Now the confirmation prompt has been removed in 2.8 from the delete key, and because it's something, the delete key is something that you have to leave your mouse on and you boom, you do it. You actually take action. And when people come from other software, then that's what I expect as well. The X key, the X key for deleting still asks you, because you could press it by mistake and just playing safe here.
And I think you can change it in the keymap, right?
I think you can just change it. Yeah. You just go to keymap and just delete and search for delete 3D view object mode here, delete. And then you can do you can disable the confirm. Yeah. So you see there the confirm, you save your preferences, and now when I press X, it just
vanishes. Yeah.
So there you go. Next. I think we're almost like 2 more questions. Is there a way to activate face maps visibility option for bones? Face maps are they're not there yet, I think. I'm not sure what's gonna be the status for the final 280. Do you get bug reports about face maps?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like I have a bug report
for everything. Okay. So
probably somewhere.
So if you haven't, it doesn't remember. So just go and make a new bug report. No. Make 5 actually. No.
Just search for it first.
And the last question: what keeps happening with the Windows build bots? Network issues. Network went down, and then they lose connection, and then they have to they just go down. It's a computer here at the institute that is just connected to the internet. And what happened? It wasn't updated since the 26th or something, which means Friday, and then it was the weekend here. And sometimes developers take the weekends off.
Yeah. So
every week, 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. Crazy. right?
Lazy bastards.
Thank you very much for staying until the end. Thank you for staying until the end. Sorry for taking you so much time. Actually, we're 10 minutes late. I think we went through most of the questions. Sorry if I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, we missed some, but we can't answer every question. It's hard, and we would continue forever.
It's hard, and it's just way too much fun to go through the new stuff. Maybe one episode should be like only Q&A.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say backlog, answer all the old questions.
All the old. Oh well.
That would take forever.
That would, yes, but it would be a good thing too.
Yeah, but I agree. Just maybe one with just Q&A and perhaps organize it in some way. So
it's a bit more...
so it's not just chaos.
All right, let's back to reality. Let's go back to reality. It's been a pleasure to have you over here. It's super fun. It's so much simpler to have someone else.
Yeah, to someone just from...
So how does it feel to be on this side? Like, is it a mess? Am I hiding a bunch
No,
of
I mean, it's a lot. No, man, no. I mean, it's as clean as I thought it would.
Yeah,
maybe
it's all real. The fake plants here, and no, it's all real. This one is fake. You don't see it.
Yeah, and he also has
a cactus
gun.
There,
not a real gun, but
no, just no violence here.
All right. If the guests don't behave, then.
Yes, exactly. It's like, so his bug hasn't been reported. Okay, no.
But yeah, it was nice seeing behind the scenes. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, now you have to come back at some other point. So
I would love to.
Awesome.
Actually.
I hope you like this show, number 60 of Blender.Today. We've been doing it for so long. I hope you find it as fun as we find it to make it. We will... Yeah, we'll see each other next week. Is it I keep 6th of May. I think there is nothing, no holidays, no weird stuff. Just in case, check out Blender.Today down here on the social media. Are you on social media? Do you like kind of stuff?
Yeah, I am on Twitter, but the last post I did was from 2016, I think.
16? I mean, you can make it a 3-year thing or something. All right. So thank you. Thank you for staying.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone for watching. And
thanks everyone for participating in the chat, even though we might not have been as interactive, but it's hard. It's
very hard. Now you understand my the struggle. The struggle to tell Blender things and then just keep track of everything. So if you're wearing headphones, watch out, because last week someone said, "Hey, you actually warned me about the noise of this epic sound." And
I actually once fall asleep and then I woke up.
Woke up with this. 5, 4, 3,
2, 1. Go.
The sad part is that I cannot listen to it while, just awesome. Okay, thank you everyone. See you next week, same place, same time. Ciao.
Yeah, ciao.
And then.
Oh.